I'm back. Guys. Keeps cutting out. Gonna give it another go. I don't have long left anyway, so I just thought we'll make this part 3. I'm gonna carry on reading about Linda Thompson. So if you haven't watched the last 2 bits, we've been talking about who is Elvis's favorite girlfriend, who is your favorite girlfriend that Elvis had. So we've gone through, we've spoken about Anita Wood, we're speaking about Linda Thompson, and I was just going through Linda Thompson's life. So let's start reading it here. In 1977, Thompson became a regular on the television series Hee Haw, which I've never heard of. She later had small one roles in television series as Chips that I loved. I'm sure you guys love Chips. Starsky and Hutch, one of my favorite. God, do you remember that? I actually had a dog, an Alsatian dog, and we named it Vegas. That American TV series, Fantasy Island, we all love it. The Fall Guy, all love The Fall Guy. And then I never really watched Beverly Hills 90210. Thompson starred in several television pilots, including Mars Base 1, 2 of 2. She appeared in several films, 3 on the Meat Hook, don't know that, The Rabbit Test, Original Intent, and she had a small role in The Bodyguard. I didn't know that. I'm going to have to watch The Bodyguard again. That's obviously the Whitney Houston one. I'm going to watch that again and check her out, see if she's in it. She appeared as Linda Jenner in a workout video. Bruce Jenner, 4 documentaries about Elvis Presley between 1997 and 2024. And then she wrote quite a few songs. She wrote one for Kenny Rogers, Our Perfect Song. See, I didn't know any of this, the fact that she was quite a good songwriter. And Richard Marx, Josh Groban. Let's have a look. She I'm quite surprised. She did really well. In 1999, Linda Thompson and Clint Eastwood and Carol Baynard Sager wrote Why Should I Care for the film True Crime. Drowning, The Backstreet Boys, Dream With Me. I'm really surprised. Fair play to her. Right, let's find out a bit more about the thing with Linda Thompson. Following her relationship with Elvis, Thompson went on to marry Catherine Jenner in 1981 before Jenner transitioned. The pair had 2 kids, Brandon and Brody. So, did they have a child? They did not have a child together. The late Lisa Marie Presley's mother is Priscilla Ann Presley. Nee Wagner changed the adoption to Beulah. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see if we can get more of an overview of Linda Thompson. Let's have a look. And we're learning as we go, guys. I'm not really sure how it's going to unfold. Some beautiful pictures of them together here, but they're all over Google. That's them in an aeroplane, I would say, but it's not clear to you guys. Let's see if we can get some juicy information. Linda Thompson. What happened to Elvis and Linda Thompson? The couple dated for 4 years until 1976. Thompson lived with Presley at his Graceland mansion within months of meeting him. However, Presley's prescribed medication escalated during the period, leading Thompson to admit that she probably extended the king of rock and roll's life a few years when she dated him. And I've heard that she even revived him. Is that true? Was Linda Thompson at the funeral? And I've got a feeling that Priscilla tried to stop her from going on the aeroplane that they went to. She brought her husband, Rod Smith, to the service. Grief-stricken, she had to be pulled away from Elvis' coffin. That's so sad. I didn't even know that. The 5th woman was Linda Thompson, who was with Elvis almost 5 years until the end in 1976. I think she actually brought Elvis a lot of happiness. I really do. When I look back on different interviews, I think Elvis really liked Linda. I think he definitely loved her. But he did get bored, didn't he, guys? He got bored. This is the problem. And she lived there at the end. So Elvis was 37. She was 22. And they had an amicable separation. Right, let's have a look. Heartbroken final words. I wonder if it says here, heartbroken final words from Linda Thompson. The pair fell hell over heels in love with one another and became inseparable over the course of 4 years, the relationship that followed. And like we were talking about this in part 2, find the film on YouTube, which is basically called Elvis Presley and the Beauty Queen, and it's got Don Johnson playing Elvis. It's free on YouTube. It's low quality. Please watch it, guys. It's good. It's over 2 hours long. I thought it was a really good film, made in the early 80s, I'm expecting. I just thought it was a great film, quite touching film. I know Don Johnson looks terrible playing Elvis. Didn't sound anything like him, but I still thought it was a good film. But things didn't always seem to add up, as before she knew it, the relationship began to fall apart. Linda felt she had a break. She had to break things off. In November 1976, just 9 months before Elvis was found dead at his home in Graceland, Linda met Elvis and they had a tough conversation. Linda, who turns 23 tomorrow on May the 23rd, so this around a year ago, flew out to San Francisco to see a concert. But back at the hotel, things got serious. Linda told the Daily Mail that she entered the hotel room and revealed that she had suspected he was cheating on her. She told him, honey, if there's another woman, just be honest with me. She emotionally told the king of rock and roll that she loved him and they held each other. Then the star said his final words to her. Elvis tearfully pledged his love and loyalty to Linda, but she was not going to change her mind. She was done with Elvis. Then she emotionally called, I walked away. And, quite a sad looking picture there of them together. And I actually don't think Elvis wanted to split up from Linda. I think he had been caught and Linda had made up her mind. And Linda wanted to settle down and have children. She wanted a normal life. And she didn't feel that Elvis was well enough to do that. As Linda walked away from the Elvis in the hotel room, she didn't think she would be the final time she ever saw him. Wow. Elvis moved on very quickly. He had another girlfriend, Ginger Alden, and there's many good interviews with Ginger Alden on YouTube, guys. Relatively soon after Linda broke up with him, he was with the young model until death 9 months later. In fact, Elvis was found dead by Ginger Alden, which we all know about. And she still looks great, doesn't she, Linda? Look at her. She's like 70 odd, and I know that's not very clear. She's a beautiful woman, and she has proved that a woman can still be stunning in her 50s, 60s, and 70s. Come on, girls. Come on, Elvis fans out there. You can still look your best if you want to, any age. I really believe that. And I know, oh yes, and isn't it true that when Elvis' body was found and poor little Lisa Marie was running around in shock, the first person that she phoned was Linda Thompson. Elvis's daughter, Lisa Marie Presley, who was just 9 years old when her father died, wanted Linda to know as soon as possible. Which is very touching. She emotionally, let's have a look. Right, let's have a look. Let's see if we can get this thing. Sorry, just jump forward a bit. Here we go. Once
Once Elvis was pronounced dead, Lisa Marie called Linda. She recalled, "My daddy's dead," Lisa Marie said. Kept saying, "He's not. He's just ill," I replied. "No, he's smothered in the carpet." Lisa Marie told me that's when it was true. Linda then revealed that she screamed and threw the phone against the wall. Oh my God, it's quite emotional. Just thinking about picturing that in my head. The star attended Elvis' enormous and lavish funeral, which was held at Graceland a few days later. When she arrived, Elvis's father, Vernon Presley, told her, "You kept my boy alive for more than a year, more than I could have done. You were the best woman for him." I didn't know that. That's what Vernon said. So if anyone's out there, guys, let me know where you're from. And if it cuts out again, we'll just do another part. So for me, Linda Thompson was definitely one of my favorite girlfriends he ever had. Right, let's start looking at some others. Please let me know. Please let me know who you think was Elvis's favorite girlfriend, and who was your favorite girlfriend that Elvis had. And there's a story that Elvis, when he was about 16, faked his parents' marriage certificate. What was the girl called? Was it Dixie? You tell me, guys. And he altered the Vernon and Gladys's marriage certificate and pretended that he was married to this girl. Right, here we are. Let's just see what's coming up when I type this in. Elvis was the perfect gentleman, An-Margret says, and was the love of his life. Significant. There was a great publicity campaign about the romance between Elvis and An-Margret during 1963, the filming of Viva Las Vegas, and the following weeks. And I think, if I'm not wrong, that Elvis did 4 films with An-Margret. And if I go by the comments I get on my channel, I would say the Elvis fans that she is top on the list for who people think Elvis truly loved and should have married. An-Margret. Yeah, I mean, she's beautiful, stunning, very gifted and talented, very smart, and her interviews are very loyal. She has never run Elvis down. She's always kept things close to her heart and has always spoken very highly of Elvis. I completely understand why he fell for her, because she was just so beautiful and so fun to be with. But do I think Elvis wanted to end up with a very ambitious woman? You know, she was known as the female Elvis. Probably not. I would say that Elvis preferred a Memphis girl back home that was going to be there to look after the home and bring up the children. I think if Elvis had found the right girl, he probably would have had quite a large family. And I don't think Elvis would have wanted a career-minded wife. I just don't. What do you think, guys? You tell me. Let's have a look at this. The 6 women. Right. Meet the 6 women Elvis Presley fell in love with. Married Priscilla, had a fling with An-Margret, and was with Ginger Alden till the day he died. Which of them later? Right, let's have a look. Let's just see which women come up. The king of rock and roll and keeper of many hearts, Elvis Presley was famous around women and continued to win many of them over just in his heyday, but for years afterwards. It also didn't hurt that he had the good looks, the fame, the voice, the onstage persona that became a cult obsession. And despite the huge age gaps and the rumors of infidelity, many of his exes still have good things to say about him. They sure do. I would say they all do. Let's have a look. So while serving in the military in 1959, he meets Priscilla Presley. Let's keep going. Okay. We know about Priscilla Presley, but I really want to look at the other ones. We know about Priscilla Presley, don't we? Let's see what it says about An-Margret.
Okay, let's find An-Margret on this. Here we are. An-Margret. This is her when she's slightly older. I would say probably in her 40s or 50s. What's it going to say about her? Elvis and his leading lady in Viva Las Vegas had visible chemistry, and in her book, Priscilla said An-Margret was the person she feared most in the lead up to her wedding, according to Priscilla, despite Elvis insisting there was nothing between them. I never knew that, actually. I never knew that. But, I mean, it's in the Priscilla film, isn't it? It's obvious they're referring to An-Margret. The Swedish actress wrote in her autobiography, An-Margret, My Story, that Elvis sent her a guitar-shaped floral arrangement every time she played in Las Vegas. In her memoir, she said Elvis asked to be alone with her and was happy, and it meant that he trusted her. In the Daily Express, she said they would often drive up the hill and look down on the city and just talk. Lovely. She's a lucky girl. They did suit each other. I'll give her that. But was she one of my favourite? Not one of mine. I like her. She's lovely. But no. Right, there was even speculation that they were secretly engaged, which could be possible, couldn't it? What do you think, guys? In the book Olsen paid, there was various factors that pulled them apart, saying it was confusion situation. The couple remained friends, and she attended his funeral when he died. Natalie Wood. She's not one that comes up that often. And wasn't she portrayed in the Kurt Russell film, I think? Briefly, Presley's brief relationship with Natalie Wood was widely considered a publicity stunt, according to USA Today. But Wood, who died in 1981, did not view it as such, claims her sister. Lana Wood released the book. The relationship was serious. There's an old picture of them together. You can't really see it that well, can you guys? But I'm going to show you anyway. And what I've read about Natalie Wood is that Elvis did like her, but Elvis's mother didn't like her. And Natalie Wood didn't like the closeness that Elvis had with Gladys. She found it a bit creepy. So if, you know Elvis, if Gladys didn't like her, it wasn't going to happen, was it? She said Presley flew to meet his Memphis family. No, she said Natalie Wood flew to Memphis to meet his Memphis family, but things were wrong when Gladys Presley met her. Natalie viewed his mother as jealous and domineering, and reports the same publication. Their relationship ended soon after. She was beautiful, the Natalie Wood, and I love West Side. I love her in West Side Story, and I love her in Rebel Without a Cause. Do you have a favourite film that Natalie Wood made, guys? And she had such a tragic ending, didn't she? Anita Wood. This will get lots of cheers. I know you guys all love Anita Wood, and we know that if he hadn't have met Priscilla, he probably would have married Anita Wood. I think we know that. Presley met Anita Wood in 1957, and they were linked as a romantic couple for several years. USA Today reports she was close with his family and even gave up work because Elvis wanted her to be in the Memphis with him. And I've read about this. This is the Paramount contract that was offered to her, a movie contract, and she never did do it. And we know that she was already famous, running a weekly show, I think, in the 50s, like a pop show, and she was co-presenting it. And Elvis fancied her and got one of the Memphis Mafia to call her and ask her out on a date for Elvis. And the first time they asked, she said no. But then the following week, Elvis phoned again, or a few weeks later, or Elvis got someone to phone her again. And this time she didn't have a date, so she accepted, and they did hit it off. And I've read they spent hours and hours just driving around, and he would meet her on many dates, and they would just drive around chatting. It wasn't all about sex. She was a decent girl. She didn't put out like that. And we know that gets a lot of respect from men. The publication claims that he asked her to wait for him while
He was in Germany, but then upon his return, said he was torn between her and Priscilla, and he ended up breaking up with Wood. And the story, I've already said this in part 1, I think, or might have said it in part 2. She overheard Vernon and Elvis chatting that he couldn't make up his mind between Priscilla and Anita, and she was like, I'm out of here, I'm going. And she even says that when they broke up, Elvis was crying as she left. So, right, Linda Thompson, we've already spoke about her, but I'll quickly read it. Linda Thompson was Presleys' first serious relationship after splitting with Priscilla. The former beauty queen was tall and blonde and met the rock star when she was 22. The pair were together for just over 4 years. And in an interview with the CNN in 2002, she described Presley as being inordinately gorgeous and a lovely spirit, always spoiling her with gifts. She said that he was an amazing person who was respectful and loyal. Good words, great words. I think loyal as a friend, definitely. I think if Elvis liked you, if you were Elvis's friend, male or female, he would do anything for you. He literally would do anything for you. There's a picture of them both. Not very clear. Who's going to come up next? Let's have a look. Thompson is widely considered to be the second most important relationship in his life after Priscilla. In the interview on CNN, Thompson said Presley didn't believe he was a drug addict because everything he took was for prescription. And at some point, he was admitted to hospital, and Thompson requested a bed next to him so she could help him through his recovery. And I've read about this, and I don't think Elvis was a drug addict. I think Elvis had some very serious medical problems, very serious, like to do with a twisted colon. He had glaucoma, he had heart problems, he had liver problems. He had lots of pain, Elvis did. Did he use the prescribed medication to wake up and go to sleep and to keep himself awake? He definitely did. And they say right back to the army days. So 100% he shouldn't have been taking those pills. And Elvis made himself an expert on tablets, didn't he? Is it called a PDC? He had a book, like a Bible, that taught him about the different tablets he was taking. Elvis thought he was an expert. She said after 4.5 years, she realized he was never going to change his cheating ways and kept falling back to prescription drug abuse. That's when she called it quits. And then Jenna, right, Ginger Alden, which I know some of you love. We know that they were engaged. They were supposed to get married at Christmas. Some people say that they think the engagement was a bit fake and they were never going to get married. She definitely was beautiful, very young, just 21. Presley fell in love with Ginger Alden when the actress was 21, and he was in his early 40s. She too was a former beauty queen. They got engaged. Do you know what? I'm confused about that because I always thought it was her sister that was the beauty queen. But you tell me, guys, was she also a beauty queen? Probably was. She was a former beauty queen. They got engaged and lived together in Graceland. Again, I think Ginger Alden refused to live at Graceland. I know she stayed there a lot, but I'm pretty sure that she did not live at Graceland. And anyway, so let's keep looking. Right. Spoke about what she alleges was an abusive relationship with Presley. She detailed how he kept guns in the house and several incidents. Fired shots around the house when he did not get his way. Well, I don't know who wrote that article, but that's rubbish because I've watched Ginger Alden's interviews, and she has never said anything like that about Elvis. She's always spoke very highly of him. She says that he was very upbeat before he died. He was really looking forward to the concert the next day, the day after he died, and that he was excited for the future and even spoke about getting married and having a child. So I don't agree with this silly little comment in this article. Right. Alden spoke about her final... Right.
I'm reading Ginger's book now. I'm not quite sure about her. I think she was too young. The age gap was too big. I think you're right. Naja, this is part 3 because I'm getting your little comments. Part 3 is here. How are you? This, at the moment, the internet has not cut out. I've done part 1, it cut out. I've done part 2, it cut out. We're on part 3, it's still working. So, where are you from, Naja? Let's have a look. Right, let's just read. Alden spoke about her final conversation. Where are you from, Naja? Ada spoke about her final conversation with Presley before his death in 1977. And at just 42 years old, it was Alden who found Presley in his bathroom, where he had fallen off the toilet and died. I don't like it when they do that. When they say fallen off the toilet and died, I don't like it. The truth I've read is, yes, he was in the toilet room, but he had stood up and stepped forward, and he wasn't found on the toilet. Yes, he was found on the floor, but Elvis's bathroom was massive. People don't realize this. It's not a tiny little bathroom normal people have. It was a big room, almost like a lounge. So, yeah. He was in a good mood. He just set a wedding date literally hours earlier, and he told me a couple of weeks before he passed that he had been off too long. He was all ready to go back on stage, something he loved and all his being, she said, according to the Daily Express. So, from what I read from her interviews, is that he had started to lose weight. He had started to slightly get better. So he wasn't all depressed and miserable. She said he was quite fun to be with and good-humoured and still very charming. Right, so that's all of them on that. Let me just type in something in. Who was Elvis's first girlfriend? Who was Elvis' first girlfriend? I'm sure it was Dixie. Let's see what comes up. I got confused earlier. From Switzerland, hi. We just won our first EM football game in a good mood. Oh, yes, of course. Congratulations. Well done. I'm sure your team's going to do very well. Right, here we go. This is the one I keep talking about. Elvis, Vernon and Gladys had a marriage certificate, and Elvis was seeing a girl. His first sweetheart was the 15-year-old Dixie Locke Emmons. Dixie Locke Emmons, whom the singer dated steadily after graduating from Hume's and during his Sun Records. And this is what I've learned. That they forged the parents' marriage certificate and pretended they were married. That is so sweet. So sweet. Right, so on here, Juanico was 1955 to 1956. Right, we're going to talk about Juanico, but hang on, I just want to type in Dixie Locke's name and just see if there's any pictures of her. And see if any of the story comes up. Dixie Locke and Elvis. Just see what comes up. Here we go. So I'm guessing he was only about 16 or 17. I know it's not very clear, guys. Let's see if there's any more of her. Is that her? I don't know. So let's see if there's any story about her, though. Right, let me go. What happened between Elvis and Dixie Locke? Elvis attended the junior and senior prom with Dixie Locke in 1954 and 1955 at Southside High School. Afterwards, they slowly drifted apart. It was a kind of a mutual thing. His career was going in one direction, and I didn't feel that I could be part of it. Okay. There we go. Should we go? Right, let's talk about Dixie Locke a bit here. I think it is important because it's before he became famous. Dixie Locke Emmons was close girlfriend of Elvis from 1953 until October 1959.
Dixie Locke was dating Elvis Presley in 1954, but her favourite singers at the time were Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and Peggy Lee. Elvis had been drawn to Locke's church, First Assembly of God, because of his love of gospel music and the Blackwood Brothers Quartet, which sang at the church. And on January the 24th, 1954, 14-year-old Dixie Locke noticed Elvis at a church function and making sure he was overheard. Hi, that's the wife, that's Aurora. Hi, wife. Say hello to the Elvis fans.
Hello, Elvis fans.
That's Aurora. Right, let's have a look. She noticed Elvis at church. She made plans with a girlfriend to go roller skating the following Saturday night. I thought he was the most gorgeous thing I'd ever seen. He was a very shy person, but when he started singing, put so much into the music across that he kind of lost himself. He threw himself into it completely, she says. That makes sense. Sounds like Elvis. Hi, Aurora. We've got 5 kids. She's busy. The following Saturday, Elvis went to Rainbow Roller Dome, where he bumped into Dixie, speaking to her for the first time. He drives her home in his 1941 Lincoln, and I've done a video on that car, his 1941 Lincoln. I'm pretty sure that Gladys and Vernon saved up for that car, and it was a gift for his 18th birthday. I'm sure. This is Rio, my son. He's 15. Rio, say hello. Hello. He's shy as well. Okay, let's have a look. On February the 16th, barely 2 weeks after their first meeting, Elvis brought Dixie home to meet his parents. I did marry a superwoman. We had like 5 kids in that fast. We're not having any more. No more. Here we are. On February 16th, barely 2 weeks after their first meeting, Elvis brought Dixie home to meet his parents. On February the 26th, Elvis and Dixie attended the all-night gospel singing at Ellis Auditorium together for the first time. Elvis and Dixie will see each other virtually every day throughout the summer, going to the movies, and 2 or 3 times a week. On June the 3rd, 1954, Dixie left Memphis for a family vacation in Florida. Right, let's have a look. Dixie Locke Amons was 15 years old when she spotted Elvis at the First Assembly of God. Okay, we've read that. I had some very good close friends at the high school. Friday and Saturday night, we'd go to the skating rink. We did which we did pretty regularly. I had seen Elvis at the church. He had started coming to the church when I had been all my life. But sorry, the text is tiny. But we had not actually spoken to each other. We would not notice each other until the Sunday school class. One Sunday at church, he and some of the guys were standing together, and some of the girlfriends and I were standing talking, and I saw him, and I went in earshot so he could hear what we were saying. I said for his benefit that we were going skating out at the Rainbow Skating Rink. Do any of you know the Rainbow Skating Rink, guys? The next weekend, I mentioned what day we were going and what time it started, hoping he'd take the bait. The next weekend, when we got there, he was there. We had not talked all week. We had not said, who are you or what your phone number is or anything. Isn't that quite typical, guys? When you're shy of each other, you're too scared to talk to each other. I was like that when I was that age. If a girl was really pretty, I was too scared to talk to her. That's how I was. There's a picture of them again. You're a lucky lady, Dixie. There's a lot to read here, so I want to skip through it. Let's have a look. He had gotten there before we had his skates on. He had to rent skates. I already had my skates because we went pretty often. He was standing there holding onto the poles. He was a really good skater. As soon as I saw him, it made me feel
good because I felt like he was there to see me. I skated up to him and said, I don't know if you know who I am. My name is Dixie. He said, I know who you are. I'm Elvis. That was our introduction to each other. This is really sweet, actually. This is like 10 pages of reading. It's very thorough. Let's have a look. Then we went to a drive down in South Memphis, which was where I was from, the south part of the town. He was from the north, not too far from where I lived. We just sat and talked, and he told me about his job, about his family. It was kind of not strange because we both felt like we already knew each other. That's love, isn't it, guys? When you feel like you already know each other. We had so much in common. Our families were so similar in that they were hardworking people. My mum was a stay-at-home mum. We had a nice time talking and getting to know each other. He said to me I could go out the next week when he took me home. I told him yes, and I gave him my aunt's phone number. I said, you'll have to call, and I'll have to see what my parents say about it. He was just a nice, handsome guy. There was a magic kiss that night. Lucky girl. When we got home, it was almost casual. I had to sneak into the house because my parents were sleeping. He called 2 or 3 days later, and my cousin came over from next door to tell me someone was on the phone for me. We started going together in 1954 in January, and we dated pretty steadily until his first record was released. Okay, I didn't know that. We were together 3 or 4 nights a week from January 1954 until we went to the prom together in 1955. We were still dating then. He was traveling a lot by the time, but he came home from the prom in 1955. By that point, he had so many demands and such a busy schedule. He was to come to my graduation in 1956. See, I didn't know that. He actually came to her graduation. Yeah, congratulations, Switzerland. James, how are you? You okay? My son is a football fan. He's a football fan. I should call him down, get his opinion. He was gutted because England lost their first friendly, didn't they? James, you're obviously a football fan, yeah? And my son plays for our team in Western-super-Mare, and he's actually very good. He's only 15. Anyway. Gio, you out there? No. I was going to say, I'll get his opinion on the Switzerland game. Right, let's have a look. We kept good and close bond to each other. We had talked about, but by the time his records came out, we realized that wasn't going to happen. The record. So That's All Right, Mama, which is one of my favorite. I'm not a big football person, but I will watch England. A small world, actually, Nadia. My sister's son has a girlfriend who lives in Switzerland, and she visits him every few months. And he is 22 and he is 21. But she can speak very good English. Right. On July 1954, Elvis recorded That's All Right, Mama. What was that? Ria, do you know what score was it with Switzerland on the Euro? Do you know? Right, because I got someone here from Switzerland. They obviously won. Is that the game that Gio's watching upstairs? My son. All right. Is there a Spain game on at the moment? Is that on now? James, is there a Spain game on now? You tell me. July the 18th, late in the evening, the Locke family returns from Florida vacation. While driving into Memphis, Dixie hears Blue Moon of Kentucky on the car radio. She knew Elvis had been recording at Sun Records. I knew what was going on, but neither nor I had any idea of the magnitude of it. I got a telegram from him saying they're playing my records on the radio. He was ecstatic over it. It was almost like disbelief that the disc jockeys would even play it, says Dixie Locke, now executive secretary of the church. I like this because it gives us a bit of insider information onto Elvis. His record starts getting played, and this is a bit of information from his girlfriend at that time, at that moment, the moment where he just suddenly was about to become famous. I really find that interesting. Let's have a look. Dixie dated Elvis for 2 more years, during which he played small concerts and clubs. I don't think there was a whole lot of money involved in it in the first weeks and months. It was more like hometown boy made good stuff. He was still just totally innocent and spontaneous. There wasn't a proud or conceited bone in his body. I love that. I love that. And I completely believe that as well. I would love to have met Elvis at that moment, when before he had money. So he was still Elvis. And you see this in the Juanico video. You know the Juanico, his girlfriend, in Biloxi, and they have that summer trip and they're fishing, and Elvis's parents are on the boat, and she's out, and Gladys is feeding Elvis, and Juanico and Elvis are cuddling and they're prattling around. And I tell you what, I would love to have known Elvis just then, because I think that was the real turning point for Elvis, sort of 56, 57. We were still seeing the real Elvis, the true Elvis, you know, the young Elvis that had not been affected by fame. And I would love to have met that Elvis. Love to. Elvis's dad said that fame and money didn't change Elvis. I believe. When he started becoming unwell, I think he had his health to deal with. So that probably did affect him. So let's have a look. Elvis attended the junior and senior prom with Dixie Locke in 1954 and 1955. Southside High School. I think we've read that. Dixie Locke wouldn't do interviews. She didn't want to cheapen the memory of her first love, nor did she want to let it become the event that defined her. And she certainly didn't want to open her private life to a public scrutiny, having seen that too much of the can't do it person. I respect that. I respect that. Dixie Locke, you sound like a real decent girl. Right, I think. Let's find Juanico. Let's see if we can get her. Right, I think we're going to do, June can be the last one we do. Did Elvis love Juanico? According to biographer Peter Goralnik, Juanico didn't doubt that Elvis loved her. She told him that she was engaged to someone else when the train pulled over. Oh no, this is just a half story. Right, let's find Juanico. Right, Juanico. The day Elvis' girlfriend talked too much. Elvis' girlfriend, not a subject that generates a great deal of interest with me. However, in this subject, this appeals to a great many of Elvis' female fans. Perhaps they enjoy imagining that it would have been them. Right, we want to see the meeting. A particular interest article about one of Elvis' girlfriend appeared in Miami Daily News on August the 4th, 1956. The headline read, "Hey girls, Elvis has 2 steadies." It seems Elvis had invited the then 18-year-old Juanico to accompany him on tour of 7 Florida cities. A Daily News reporter had noticed a shapely brunette being passed through the police lines into the Presley Olympian Arena dressing room, where she reportedly stroked his brow between stage shows. Smelling a story, the reporter Damon Ruaning Jr. Miss Juanico in a tunnel beneath the Olympian stage on her way to watch Elvis. With no members of Elvis's entourage around to coach her responses, June gave a revealing interview that must have made Elvis cringe when he read it in the paper the next day. It started with the innocent basics. She had met Elvis in her hometown of Biloxi about a year before
I went backstage to see him and saw a big crowd, she explained. So I went to the ladies' room. When I came out, there he was. Within 5 minutes, he asked me to show him the town. I accepted naturally. We went to see 2 or 3 floor shows in the nightclubs. I knew that this was the real thing. Well, you know, don't you? 8 months went by and I never heard from him. No letters or anything. Then I went to Memphis and it started all over again. Right, let's try and get to the nitty gritty. There's some lovely pictures of them. Yeah, he should have stayed with Anita, shouldn't he? Much nicer than Priscilla. Do we agree there, James? Right, let's have a look. Trying to find something on Juanico that isn't. It's not really. Let's have a look. Let's try this one. Elvis Presley's first love, June. We wanted to get married, but the Colonel stopped us. Oh, I didn't know that. Right. Elvis Presley's first love, Juanico, shared a passionate romance with the king just before he became famous and revealed that he wanted to marry her. She said, when I think back on the fun, innocent, sweet, unbelievable time we had, I am blessed. I was totally in love with this man, plus watched incredible footage of June on holiday at Elvis with his parents. Guys, you go on YouTube, there is amazing footage of Elvis with Juanico. It literally is amazing. It will blow you away. It's full colour. They met in the summer of 1955, just before Elvis started to be famous. He was performing in small venues across the South. The 17-year-old Juanico went to see him at the Airman Club at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi, on the Gulf of Mexico. In 2015, she remembers the first meeting. I thought he was the most gorgeous thing. Big, dreamy eyes. Girls were screaming over him. And I'm not just that kind. I was passing by him, not even looking at him, and he reached through the crowd and grabbed my arm. He said, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" So Elvis reaches out and grabs you and says, "Where are you going? What are you going to do, girls?" I agree, but early on, he should have broken, yeah. Linda Thompson was Elvis's best girlfriend. Nigel, how are you? Yeah. I'm not going to praise the Priscilla relationship. I'll be honest with you guys, at the moment, to Priscilla, I'm not in a good place because I've learned so many bad things that happened. So many bad things that Priscilla did to Elvis. She is bottom of my list of girlfriends at the moment. Right. What are you in the mood for? I asked innocently. He raised his eyebrows, looked at me and laughed, and I can't answer that. June, you'd slap my face. We both laughed. Not only did he have a great face, he had a great sense of humor to match. They took a drive down to the water, and June showed Elvis where people would catch flounder, and she remembered him innocently asking, "What about crabs? How do you catch them?" He realized what he'd said that night after he said it, and we both started laughing, and I'd finally pulled myself together. I told him, "You just reach down and pick them up. If they're soft, then you can run very fast. If they're hard, they'll bite you." Elvis said, in other words, "June, you're telling me you can catch them from the toilet seat." Right, we're laughing so hard. Pull the card over. They spent on the pier. They parked outside the house until the sun came up the next morning. But they had a beautiful romance in Biloxi. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even really want to waste time talking about Priscilla. She's upset me a lot in the last 3 or 4 days. The things I'm learning are bothering me. So, well, I really like Juanico. It's a great picture of her. And should we try and find her video? Let's have a look. Let's see if it comes up. Let's just see if it comes up. Oh, let me just turn it down. Let's see if it's in this. I just want to see the bit when they're on the boat. Just a little clip. Is it going to show it? Just hold on. I've got it, but it's in different clips. Yeah. Let's see if it shows the bit. That's Elvis in the background. Have a look. Let me get a bit nearer. That's him there fishing. There's Juanico with the red thing on her hair. That's Elvis with Juanico there. Obviously catching the fish. There's Vernon and Gladys, and she was making him sandwiches. Elvis has got a cap on while he's eating his food. That's Gladys feeding Elvis and holding his fishing rod. I'm not sure who the guy was, but I recommend it, guys. Watch it on YouTube. It's brilliant. I love it. And there's some lovely music to this video. And you get Juanico talking through it as well. There she is. There she is there. Obviously, she's a bit older there, but her interview is lovely. I think that might be Red West. What do you think, guys? And I think he did this fishing trip twice. He did it once with just June and the guys. And then the second time asked the guy if he'd hire the boat out again so he could invite Gladys and Vernon. There he is. Look at him there. And I'm pretty sure it's 56 or early 57 in Biloxi. And Elvis really grew to love Biloxi. And this is a famous scene where he pretends to sing. Let's see if he does it. There he is. Isn't that funny? And she was so beautiful. She was stunning. June. There he is, shaking his leg, the famous leg shake. So funny. There we go. And that's June. And that's the guy that arranged the boat trip. And he's being interviewed. It is Red West, is it? Love it. She definitely is one of my favourite. Now, as far as I know, from what I've read, Gladys really liked her. Gladys and Vernon really liked her. You know, I mean, Elvis did ask her to wait for him, but, you know, she met him at a pivotal point in his career, didn't she? Because he was just about to shoot off like a rocket, wasn't he? I think hadn't he made a film then? Or was he just about to make a film? Was it Love Me Tender? I'm not sure. I'd need to check that. So, right. Are there any other girlfriends we want to look up before I go? Well, there's another clip here again. Let's just show that bit again. I just love it. There she is talking about him. They were definitely in love. 100%. And there's loads of pictures. I think she's talking about when Gladys passed away. Yeah, they really did, Stacey. Hi, Stacey. Let me know where you're from again. I think we spoke already, haven't we? And I think she was just... If you look at her interview, she was a proper decent girl. You know, she didn't run him down and say bad stuff about him. And she stayed very loyal. I know that she got on with her life and had a very full life. Just like Ginger Alden did, just like Linda Thompson did, you know, and Anita Wood, they all did. But many of these girlfriends Elvis had were really decent people. Yeah. I don't think, without talking about Priscilla too much, I don't think Elvis had a girlfriend that was unfaithful to him in the way that Priscilla was. Priscilla was properly unfaithful. We know about the dance instructor Steve Peck, and we know about the Mike Stone, but there were others as well, you know. And you know, I know that Elvis liked the ladies, but I think if Elvis was treated right and felt loved and stable, there's a chance he could have been faithful. What do you think, guys? Who was first, June or Anita? Definitely Anita. I think Anita was, let me try and remember, in 50, she met him when just before he went into the army, didn't she? So you can sort of work it out from there. I'm pretty sure she was with him in 58, 57, 58, 59. Actually, no, let me just think. It was a very similar time. I know that Anita was with him. I'm just trying to work it out in my brain now. Anita was with him when he was drafted. So, which was 58, wasn't it? So Juanico, I'm pretty sure is 50. Juanico could have been just before. I wonder what year it says on this video. It's a good question. 56. So June was first. Look, 19. I don't know if you can read that. 1956. Juanico. So I'm pretty sure that Anita Wood was 57, but I think he was with Anita Wood for longer. I agree, Stacey. I agree. Yes, I think it was James. I think it was just before. They're both stunning. You know, I think, you know, Anita Wood was more of the famous blonde bombshell, the Marilyn Monroe sort of, and Elvis did like that look. I actually read that Elvis had an argument with Marilyn Monroe. Have you heard this, guys? That they were alone together one night and they ended up falling out quite badly. Is it true? I've read it a few times. And here's June, much older here. Let me just see if it. That's her young, and then, but the interview, I'm not sure if it's going to show you. Let's see if it's going to come on. There's just some pictures there. And there she is being interviewed. So there's plenty of footage. Yeah, you've heard it as well, James. So, you know, on part 2, we spoke about Natalie Wood. That I think that's featured in one of the films, isn't it? Is it the Kurt Russell film where it shows them where they've rented out the cinema, and I think they're playing pinball. And the girl plays Natalie Wood, but you know, from what I've read, Gladys didn't like Natalie Wood, and Natalie Wood didn't like the fact that Elvis was so close to Gladys. She didn't like it. She found it a bit odd, and she made an excuse to go back to her family, didn't she, Natalie Wood? So that was never going to happen, you know. Okay, guys, we're getting up to an hour now. I do like to end them around an hour. Thankfully, it hasn't cut out. So in your comments, please let me know who you think you preferred of all his girlfriends. And I've actually done a video of all the different girlfriends Elvis had, and you'll be surprised. A lot of them, you'll be surprised that Elvis even dated them. There was one I remember was one of the singers in West Side Story. I forget her name. Do any of you know her name? I didn't know that Elvis dated her. And when you go through the list, you'll be surprised. You know, An-Margret is a standout one for me because she's always brought up in the comments, you know, and she was lovely. But do I think they should have married? Don't know. She was too famous, too successful, too career-minded. Elvis did want a simple girlfriend that was going to bring up the kids, look after the home. I really believe that. A church-going Christian girl. That's what Elvis wanted, I think. Yeah, he was a very religious man. And I think it meant a lot to him. He wanted a girlfriend that
Gladys would approve of. Do you agree with that, guys? Elvis wanted a girlfriend that Gladys would approve of. I really believe that. And was a southern boy, wasn't he, at heart? And that's anyway, guys. Thanks for listening. I've really enjoyed talking to you, all of you guys. Thanks, James. Thanks, Stacey, and anyone else that has joined in. Nadia, and I know, yeah, Linda Thompson is lovely. And I know you guys, sometimes I know a lot of my live feeds get watched like tomorrow or later on. So if any of you are watching this live feed later on, good day to you or good morning to you. Depends what, I think, just so you know, the time here in the UK is coming up to 6 p.m. So we're going to cook some pizza now. Me and the kids are having a pizza night. I'm going to have a curry myself. But and if any of you are watching this later, thanks for watching this, guys. Please comment. I love your comments. Teach me in your comments. I want to know who was Elvis's favorite girlfriend and who was your favorite of Elvis's girlfriend. Please let me know. All the people that are going to watch this later. So I'll give you all a wave. Have a great day, and I really appreciate you joining in with me. It means a lot to me. Thanks, guys. All the best.